I was dealing with the matter of the Palestinian covenant, the fact that Israel was driven out of the land of Israel and scattered abroad because of their violation of this area, the matter of the Palestinian covenant. And that has brought me to Ezekiel chapter number 22. Now, I've been dealing over the last several days with the matter of this conspiracy. Now, you and I understand that a conspiracy is when two or more people get together to cause a certain thing to happen, or to spread a certain rumor or lie, or to propagate a certain idea or theory. It is my opinion that the national news media, the legacy news media, are all conspirators and propagandists. They do not report the news. They create a narrative. And if they have to, they can create a crisis which will allow them to create a villain in the crisis, and will also allow them to create a solution to a problem that did not exist. And all of a sudden we get stuck with a whole bunch of new rules and laws and regulations and restrictions over something that did not exist a year ago. That is a conspiracy. Two or more people get together to conspire to do a certain thing or to produce a certain thing. So we saw the conspiracy of her prophets. Now, the interpretation is to Israel, but the application in the matter of general truth can be appropriated to men in every age, men in all ages, because all men are sinners, all men are possessed of a corrupt nature, all men without the grace of God are utterly and entirely condemned. And because of that, we learn general truth. Any man or woman that'll occupy their time reading the Bible will know as much about human psychology and human behavior as any psychiatrist educated in the Freudian system of psychiatry and psychology. You'll know everything you need to know if you just read a King James Bible and learn how the people in the Bible behaved. Learn what they did and how they responded. There's no new thing under the sun. So the prophets were like a roaring lion ravening the prey. Congress has done that. The court system has done that. Legislators have done that. Her priests, in verse 26, have violated my law. The ones that were to be teaching the law, enforcing the law, observing the law, promoting the law, are actually the ones that broke the law, despised the law, and stood against the matter of the law. They profaned my holy things. They were to be custodians of the holy things of the temple, and rather than being custodians of those things, there was profanation of those holy things. They put no difference between the holy and profane, neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean. The ones that were charged with showing a distinction between the clean and the unclean were actually those that were saying evil is good and good is evil, and darkness is light and light is darkness. You and I have seen these legislators place their hand on a Bible, raise their right hand, and swear in the oath that they will defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And many of them are lying through their teeth when they swear that oath, because they themselves are the enemies of the Constitution. When Bernie Sanders, a proponent and promoter of communism and socialism, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is a promoter of socialism and communism and socialism are entirely incompatible with the Constitution. And a man that would promote communism in the United States is an enemy of the Constitution, because he is at war, in a theoretical war against the Constitution of the United States. There is no freedom of speech in communist countries. There is no freedom of religion in communist countries. There is no right to keep and bear arms in communist countries. There is no right for a man to be secure in his home, in his papers, in his possessions, the Fourth Amendment. The Fifth Amendment, there is no Fifth Amendment protection, that a man cannot be forced to testify to his own detriment, his own demise. None of those things exist in communist countries. So when a man stands up and says, I'm a communist and I want a democratic socialism, communism in the United States, that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's an enemy of the Constitution. And many of those men promoting that have also sworn an oath to defend and protect the Constitution. So they've showed no difference between the unclean and the clean. Our schools and teachers have not taught the evil and the tyranny of socialism and communism to our students, but rather they have talked down the founders of this country and talked down the greatness of our free enterprise system. And they've talked down that the United States is built on the liberty of the individual. And all communist countries are collectivist, and the United States is individualist and promotes the individual, and free individuals make up a free society. It's not the other way around. If you don't have free individuals, you cannot have a free society. And have hid their eyes from my Sabbaths, and I am profaned among them. God was profaned among the princes. Many of them were involved in the priesthood, like a politician would go into politics. And it's just an occupation, something to be occupied with in the course of one's life. That is profanation. Then her princes, number 3. And we have the prophets, the priests, now the princes. Her princes are in on the conspiracy. These are elected officials or governmental officials. Her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves ravening the prey, to shed blood and to destroy souls, to get dishonest gain. Now, if I have ever read a verse in the Bible that's up to date and down to earth, on April the 21st of the year 2021, I just read it to you. How is it that we send a man to Washington and pay him $125,000 a year to be in the House, and in 4 years he's a millionaire? We send a man to the Senate, pay him $155,000 a year, and in 4 years he's a multi-millionaire. Now, where did that other money come from? $155,000 a year times 4 years is $600,000. And if he could put the whole of it in the bank and pay no taxes, he would only have $600,000 at the end of 4 years. He'd have $825,000 at the end of 6 years. That's still not $1 million or millions of dollars. How does that happen? To get dishonest gain. And yet I know of no poor politicians on the national level, on the federal level. I know of no poor politicians. Her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves. Now, what do wolves do? Wolves raven the prey. They destroy the prey. When a wolf gains its prey, whether that wolf is running down a white-tailed deer or it's running down some varmint, the way they kill their prey, they raven that prey. They shake their heads back and forth. They sink their teeth down into the prey and hold it. They clamp down their jaws, and then they shake their heads violently back and forth, shaking the very life out of their prey. That is precisely what our political class, our ruling class in the United States, has done to the people they allegedly are supposed to be the servants of. We say that Congress works for us and that we elect our legislators. Well, what's been revealed in this last election, well, we're not electing very many people at all. People in the shadows and the backgrounds that control these Dominion voting machines. They're the ones pulling the levers. We want so-and-so to win, and we'll manufacture so many votes over here and manufacture so many votes over there, and we'll put in who we want. You just think you're electing these individuals. And rather than being servants of the people and servants of their constituency, they're like wolves that bite and devour and raven the people. They literally suck the life blood. To shed blood, I read in the next phrase, to shed blood. And they literally shed the blood out of the people that they are supposed to be servants of, the people that they are supposed to be serving and representing in public office and defending in public office. And rather than defending them and promoting them and standing for them and building them up, they shed their blood. It's my opinion that the deep state wants the people in the United States to be thoroughly discouraged and disgusted with the whole process. So discouraged and disgusted that we won't even participate. That makes life much easier for them. If we don't participate, they don't have to manufacture nearly as many fraudulent ballots. You think about the unbridled immigration in the United States. And just opening up the borders, anybody can flood in. The first thing you know, you have 75 to 100 million people that don't speak our language, that dilute the whole culture, the whole structural culture of this land. And when you bring that many people in, you don't have time to have a melting pot. One of the things about immigration over the years is that the people that came to the United States wanted to become Americans. They wanted to fit into our culture. They wanted to speak English. They wanted to be a part of our culture. They left the old country. They left it. They left the old country behind and came here, anglicized their names, learned how to speak English. They wanted to become a part of American society. There's your melting pot. Today we have a balkanization. We have people that have lived here for a decade that can barely speak English and that still go by the metric system and have not tried to become United States citizens, have not applied. They're here for the ride. Now, what does that do when the princes open up the borders and say anybody can come in? What does that do for the country? It does nothing. It further dilutes and destroys the country. Now, that's not representation at all. The princes in the midst thereof are like wolves ravening the prey to shed blood. Now, my time has gotten away from me. Tomorrow when I come back, the next clause says, and to destroy souls. The next phrase, and to destroy souls, and then to get dishonest gain. I hope you'll be listening to the Right Spot Hour at that time, and I hope that we'll be a blessing and a help to you in the Lord. God bless you, and goodbye.
Post Office Box 4, Greenville, South Carolina 29602. Visit the website at the Bright Spot Hour.